Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Glad to see you after this last night's sobering experience, aka Gent Sense and Eugenius, bunch of quackpots. So, I recently saw a video that Ashton made 10 fragrance viewers to watch. What a dumbass list. I mean, what a ridiculous list to even remotely. I mean, all these dudes have 1,000 some subs. They are not considered small time reviewers whatsoever. If you have 1,000 subs or more, you can just no longer consider yourself a small time reviewer, plain and simple as can be. So I'm going to help you guys out a little bit. I didn't want to make a huge video of this. I just rather come on here and spit and spew live. I take your comments. I don't care, good or bad. What can I say? Screw you or thank you. So, without further ado, I want to get to the bad ones first that I don't think you should watch at all and give you a brief reason why I don't think you should watch these fragrance reviewers. Some of them are obvious, some of them are not. So, my number 10 is Outlaw Frags. And you say, DB, why don't I want to watch Outlaw Frags? Well, first of all, they're sub buyers. These guys have bought subs, and we've not exposed these guys simply because I like one and can't stand the other. These guys bought their subs. Second of all, they are the one of those frag communities that have come out of the TLTG fragrance lounge that have ended up being absolutely terrible. These guys have one guy is pretty funny. He dresses up, does a real good job. The other guy is just a total bitch. I mean, really, he is one of those guys that's always on his period. I sent them guys a decant of a fragrance that I wanted them to try. They were all about it. And then they invited me into their little fragrance group. Well, I didn't really want to because I'm sick and tired of going into these reviewers' fragrance groups. And I got in there, wasn't even in there, but I guess a week, and they popped me out. And the reason was because that all their little groupies didn't like the fact that I was in their groups. Never did review my fragrance. They promised to send my fragrance back, and I've yet to see it. So screw them guys. They're boring as hell anyway. One guy's entertaining, the other one can't even grow a beard trying to look like a biker. Anyway, done with them. Next is going to be Motivated Living. Okay. A guy I used to get along with until he decided to dive into the hate Dwayne world. And he doesn't really talk crap about me, but he really likes all the other people that do talk crap about me and kind of jumps on that bandwagon a little bit, put his nose in there. On top of that, he's boring as hell. He's one of those guys that just, when he reviews a fragrance, it's always in his car. Guys, you can't do a fragrance review in your car. How the hell is anybody going to take you serious doing a review in your car? I can understand every now and then giving a little something to do about a fragrance in your car. I get it. But like almost every single video, you're in your car or you're doing a green screen. Whatever. I just don't find the guy appealing. I don't find the guy worth listening to. And on top of it all, he decides he likes the whole hate Dwayne club. So next is going to be another one that's quite obvious, and that's Mr. Cheap Sense. That guy hasn't a clue about a damn fragrance one. That's number one. That guy can't review a fragrance to save his rear end. He's the most, out of this list, he is the most fakest guy on this list, to be honest with you. You're talking about a guy who will take anything from anyone. 90% of his collection he's gotten from people that have given it to him because he always puts on a sad story about, how in debt he is, but yet he owns 2 cars and pays insurance on 2 cars and whatever else. It kind of seems like, self-inflicted wounds. But on top of that, he doesn't really have good content. Here lately, he's been trying to boost his content by putting other fragrance reviewers in a screen behind him. Way to use other people to get you noticed there, buddy. The next one on the list is going to be an obvious one. That's Gent Sense. The only thing that I agree with Eugenius about when it comes to Ashton is boring. No character. I mean, literally just talks. I mean, I feel no love for a fragrance. I feel no hate for a fragrance. I mean, this guy I just don't think he believes in what he's reviewing, to be honest with you. I just think, somebody said I ought to review this, so I guess I better. I'll leave him alone. I done got on him enough yesterday. So the next one's going to be a lady by the name of Demi Rawlings. And a lot of people say, but DB, what's wrong with Demi Rawlings? This is a self-absorbed, what I like to call an attention whore. Boo-hoo is me. Everybody pay attention to me and my titties hanging out. Sex sells. Have you guys ever watched this lady do a fragrance review? It is not that interesting. And on top of that, I can't stand an English accent or Australian. I don't know which one she is, but I can't stand it. I think the only reason she has that many reviewers is because sex sells. I mean, literally, if your tits are always hanging out and you got war paint all over your face all the time, of course, middle-aged men with bad sex lives are absolutely going to watch you. So next is going to be a lady that I've never targeted before, but I'm going to target because she likes to target me. So last night I decided to do a little bit of checking this lady's reviews out, and that's a lady by the name of Lola Sense. Yeah, I said Lola Sense. What kind of freaking name is Lola Sense? Okay. This is a once a weeker. This lady gets on once a week. The last video I checked, she did 3 weeks ago. She's real active in the fragrance communities, but her actions more or less are, let's see who I can bash, how fast I can bash them, and get Steve from Redolescence to take up for me because I'm a woman. There's nothing appealing about her fragrance reviews. She edits more than anybody I know. When you are a fragrance reviewer and you are constantly editing your material, there's a reason you're editing your material. Okay. You're editing your material because you keep screwing up. A lot of these fragrance reviewers, when they edit, they're actually editing when they're starting to talk about the notes because they want to seem so freaking smart. They have to go back and look at the notes when if they just wanted to be smart, they could write them down and give them a screen flash of it all. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to figure that one out. Next one's going to be Cubanos. And a lot of people say, DB, we've bashed Cubano. Yeah, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just telling you who I think you ought to stay away from. And I used to be a huge Cubano fan, a real big Cubano fan. I used to watch Big Beer B to keep up with the up and coming things that are coming out of Fragcom. The best scents coming out, especially because he was a Bikilian fan, so am I. And I would keep up with him just to see what was new. I watched Steve from Redolescence to get the note knowledge, and I watched Cubano to get the honesty. So you'll find the one in the middle in this list too. But the reason that I don't watch Cubano no more is I didn't even bother when he did the Steve from Redolescence. Everybody should know that these big time reviewers are stuck at the freaking hip. I mean, they literally are in a circle, got their hands on each other, if you dig what I'm saying. And I can see the conversation. Steve called Cuba and said, everybody really loves the fact that you're such an honest guy. Can you please review these for me? I'd really appreciate it. And Cuba being such an obliger, he decided, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. And I'm just not going to give this guy bad publicity. You know how that goes, guys. So I used to, and even when he did Steve from Redolescence, Novatus, I didn't even like hate on him then. Then the next day he got on and bashed a Christian Dior fragrance. Now, I have to admit, I've never touched a Christian Dior fragrance to my knowledge. I may have and just totally ignored it. It's a possibility. But if you can bash a Christian Dior fragrance that tons of people in the fragrance community like, but you can't bash a Novatus, which simply smells like every damn thing else on the market, I have no use for you no more. All he kept saying in the videos was, kind of smells like something I've smelled before. Dude, you know damn well you smelled everything on the list. Anyway, next is going to be Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. I wouldn't watch Brooklyn Fragrance Lover if you paid me to. If I was to become a millionaire watching Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, I'd decline the $1 million. And why do I say this? Because Carlos is just a drunk, spoon-fed reviewer. In my opinion, his reviews are okay. I mean, he has been spoon-fed by Steve from Redolescence. This guy Steve from Redolescence has continuously fed him so much stuff and so on and so forth that he became a big-time reviewer, and now all he does is want to get drunk and call his cat a homophobe. Yeah, I'm not interested in all that, brother. Let's just keep to the fragrances and let's go from there. And the last one, of course, the number one is going to be Steve from Redolescence. I used to like Steve from Redolescence because this is where I got my knowledge from note breakdowns. Not anymore. When he lied about his Novatus line, I was done. I was the first person to jump on to Steve from Redolescence's fanboy thing when he came out with Novatus. I was so happy. I was actually going to wait till the market kind of calmed down a little bit. And no problem, Allison. We'll do. What's up, dog man? This guy straight lied about Novatus. He fooled everybody and absolutely decided that he was going to tell everybody that he was involved in every bit of this fragrance when absolutely he is not. I've put out the proof of it. I'm not going to harp on it all day long. But those are my top 10 fragrance reviewers to not even remotely pay attention to. They're not worth your time. And all you're going to get is misinformation and BS. Simple. So I don't want to leave out the guys I think you should watch. And I'll give you the reasons why I think you should watch these guys. Some of these you may know. Some of these you may not know. And of course, I'm going to give you the reasons why I think you should watch these guys versus the other guys. It's not a hard thing to figure out. My number one on my list is 504 Man Fragrance reviews. Nobody cares about you, Jeremy. Go the hell away. 504 Man is an absolute underestimated fragrance reviewer, in my opinion. I literally think this guy has got the potential to blow up. The problem is he don't buy his subs. He doesn't cater to everybody around him. He does great reviews. He does the reviews he thinks people wants to hear. His content is great. I have not seen a recent video, and I apologize for that. Supposedly he upgraded his background and all that good, happy stuff. I just enjoy listening to him. He's cool, calm, and collect. He doesn't get all hyper and worked up. And I just absolutely enjoy the guy, to be honest with you. Next is going to be a guy by the name of BroSense. BroSense is a guy that I don't think gets enough attention. And there's reasons why he doesn't get enough attention. He does have a lot to work on. He won't deny that himself. But the reason he don't get a lot of attention is because he's not on either side of the fence. BroSense is very middle of the line fragrance reviewer. And I don't mean that as far as how he reviews. I mean that because he doesn't jump on people's bandwagons. The guy is just an absolute guy who loves fragrances and is in it for the love. You can tell every time he does it. Of course, is going to be next on the list is my boy Original Dog Man. I think you guys ought to be watching him simply because I think he does pretty good in-depth reviews when he does reviews, but also the simple fact that Dog Man isn't afraid to call anybody in the fragrance community out. He would call me out if he had a reason to do it, and I could care less. I would shoot back with anything anyway. But a fair and balanced guy who just absolutely does what he's supposed to do to help the fragrance community out. When a man can come and review Dunhill fragrances, which I think are subpar, I don't think they're anywhere near good, and apologize for leading you guys to believe these were great fragrances. To me, that's respected. I haven't seen very many people come back and say, I recommended these fragrances, but I want to tell you, in reality, they suck, and I apologize. Next on my list is going to be a guy that I use now in replace of Steve from Redolescence, and that is my boy Troy D 24/7 Mall. My boy Troy D is a genius when it comes to note breakdown. I've watched plenty of his videos. I can tell you the guy absolutely, without a doubt, knows exactly what he's talking about. So if you guys don't want the BS fakeness from Steve from Redolescence, you guys don't want to see somebody making a fragrance and then telling you they had everything to do with it, come to find out they're clones. This is your boy. Troy is an absolute cool dude. He actually, I'll be honest with you, at first, I kind of thought his content was lacking. I didn't think he um, was doing reviews that I thought he should do, because he likes upscale fragrances. I'm all right with that. And I was just happening to make a comment trying to actually be a smart tail to him. And he came back and shot back at me. And I thought it was kind of funny. And, he decided, we would just talk, and I sent him some Novatus. He actually did a review on it. He himself, who has never tried red tobacco because it's not in his league, let's be honest, even come and said, this is spot on red tobacco. It's got to be respected when someone who's never smelled either fragrance can tell you they smell exactly alike. Next, believe it or not, you guys will probably be shocked by this one. I'll give you a reason why it's hard to watch, but I can respectfully watch him because he's original. You're not going to catch it. And that's my boy Cali Reviews. J-Rock, as he likes to call himself. His content, he has a very heavy accent. And sometimes I just can't watch it for too long because of his heavy accent. I know he can't help it. Not going to make fun of him. What I like about him is he will mix fragrances and he will put in comic books, whatever the hell he feels like, because it's his channel. He also does not buy his subs. It's apparent because he's at like 230 something. He does bring on a guy, Cali Gent, who I'm in the fence with him. I think his reviews are boring. I don't think he has enough character, enough charisma. But at the same time, he does have a lot of really nice fragrances. So I'll leave that up to you, whether you want to watch him or not. We've absolutely worn that guy out. I could care less to talk too much about him. So let's move on. There's another guy that I absolutely love watching his content. And I apologize if I mess this up, but it's called The Scented Soldier Shaves, I believe is the name of his channel. Forgive me if I didn't say it wrong. We need to watch that guy. His content is absolutely wonderful. He's very honest. He's a little off on the charisma side, but what he does is he takes things serious simply because he loves the military, and that's what a lot of his stuff is based on. This guy has gone out of his way to thank the military. He's even made reviews praising the military and talking about certain things in his fragrance and his shaves that are military related. I remember he did a review on 22 a day, which, if a lot of you guys don't know, 22 veterans commit suicide a day simply because of PTSD. That's what 90% of it comes from. So I really appreciate that guy giving the awareness to the 22 a day. And this guy is absolutely wonderful. If you guys have not checked him out, please go check this guy out. At the end of this, when this is posted, I'll put up all the ones I think you guys should watch. I'm not going to touch the ones I don't think you shouldn't watch. So let's move on. There's another guy. He doesn't do enough, and that's the reason why it's upsetting, because I really think his reviews, and he's the only freaking guy from the UK that I can stand watching that doesn't have that outrageous freaking accent, and that's my boy Pine Rocks. I think Pine Rocks, and what I like about Pine Rocks is he's touching stuff that we can't necessarily get here. And he also touches on soaps. I wish I had enough kahunas to talk about soaps, because there are a lot of soaps that smell good that we could be discussing. But he's got a lot more than I do. I just stick to the fragrances and love that particular part of it. But he really is really, really cool when he does his reviews. I think his reviews are um, are in depth. I like the way he talks about it. And he's like everybody else. He's not so snobby that he's one to put a decant up there to show you it's all about the juice in this world we live in, guys. It's not about what the bottle is in the presentation. And all in all, we're talking about the scented water in the bottle. So next is going to be a guy. I wasn't going to put this guy on my list because I haven't really watched a ton of his videos, but the videos I have watched have been relatively honest, and I can appreciate that. And that's a guy by the name of Danielson. I've watched his reviews. I think I've seen about 7 or 8 of them, and a lot of honesty in those. And that's what I'm about, is honesty in the fragrance community. Being honest about, I may take him off my list if he decides to do Steve from Red Essences and Abatus and say, like Eugenius did last night, he doesn't smell anything clonish about them. Yeah. Wonder how the after party was, guys. Anyway, so Danielson has absolutely been honest in his reviews. You can't help but respect that. They're not going to give you a bunch of blasted stuff telling you things smell good when you know daggone well they don't smell good. And just like Allison said down here, some of the fragrance reviewers praise some fragrances that turn out not to be so satisfying. Allison, most of the time, that's most of what they review is not really satisfying. They kind of try to stay with the trendy curve. You understand what I'm saying? They try to stay trendy, and they're just shills. That's really all there is to it. They're doing it for a reason, and it's not to get you to understand that these are great fragrances, because they're not. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'll probably say this till I wear it out. Even me or anybody else that does honest reviews, do yourself a favor. Buy a decant. Now, I can understand if you can relate to me and know how things stick on your skin and you trust me enough to take my point of view, but I don't want you missing out on something you may enjoy just because I personally cannot stand it, or I may love it to death. I don't want anybody to ever look back and say, well, DB said it smelled great. Yeah, but I also told you to get a decant. Try it for yourself. Don't waste your money on a full bottle. I've done it before. It's not fun. It's not pleasant. And on top of that, let's say you paid $150 for a bottle of cologne because one of these shills decided it was such a great product. You paid $100 for this bottle, $150 for this bottle. You turn around, you can't sell it for that. It's like a car. As soon as you take it on a lot, it's depreciated. As soon as you take the cellophane off of that bottle or that box and pull all that content out of that box, it went from 150 to 125 ASAP. Then you go and take a spray out of it. Now it's used. So now you're down to $110. And a lot of people aren't even going to give you the $110. So they're going to try to talk you down to 80, 85, $90. You're going to end up selling it for that. You lost $60 off a fragrance because some idiot told you it absolutely smelled great. So the one that I like the most, and I've watched almost every single one of her videos, she does not do it anymore. Shame, shame, shame. I understand the reasons why she don't do it anymore, but nonetheless, I wish she would go back to doing it. And that's Jacqueline's Perfumery. I loved her content. Now, don't get me wrong. She will tell you she was shilling as well. She was shilling for a different reason. It wasn't for the love of money. It was to absolutely make a extra income off of doing these to help provide for her family. And all the videos that I've seen, that I recall her saying this video is sponsored by, and then her give this great review. Once again, I think she just tells it how it is. She's not as harsh and as cruel as me and Dogman may be sometimes, but guys, these are people that you have to understand. In the 10 bad reviews, and I'll go over them again, 10 bad reviewers you should stay away from are Outlaw Frags, Motivated Living, Mr. Cheap Scents, Gent Scents, Demi Rawlings, Lola Scents, Cuban O's, Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, and Steve from Red Essence. Go back into the video and watch why you shouldn't watch those guys And then the list of who you should watch simply is 504 Man Fragrances, Bro Sense, Original Dogman, Troy D 24/7 Mall, Cali Reviews, The Scented Soldier Shaves, Pine Rocks, Daniel Sun, and Jacqueline's Perfumery. Those are the ones you should, because I feel like you get the best bang for your viewing buck. I am not going to recommend myself. That is self-righteous. Never would do that. I evaluate myself on how many subscribers I have that actually participate in each and every one of my videos. I have recommended fragrances to people. Those people have gone out and done exactly what I've told them to do and bought decants. There's a reviewer, Tired of Fools, who got tired of hearing me talk about EJ Wells and excuse me, and Happy Land, and went out and bought a little sample pack and loves them. I don't see how anybody could hate what I've had so far. I have every one of his fragrances, every last one. And the ones that I've reviewed, I've enjoyed. The closest I got to hating the fragrance was the one that I just last reviewed. The opening came off hardcore, just too rough for me. But man, when that thing died, it's called Man Shit. When that thing died down, if it stayed that way the whole entire time, that'd have been a 10 out of 10. It smelled so freaking classy. I loved every minute of it. But he did what I told him to do. Not like I'm demanding you guys do it, but if you hear me bragging something up, please don't go out and spend your hard-earned money buying a whole bottle and then decide you don't like it. Even though in my videos I say it's something I do like, if you don't like this, I will buy it back. And I really will buy it back. If you buy a whole bottle and not listen to me and buy a whole bottle and don't like it, I will absolutely buy it. I stand by those fragrances because I feel those fragrances are far, first of all, they're not given enough love. The ones that I've reviewed and said I love absolutely enough. But also the simple fact that I stand by them because they're great fragrances. Authenticity is a great fragrance. You guys are totally missing out on a great fragrance for the mad cheap. I can't say it enough. Excuse me. Colds are set. There's allergies around here in North Carolina are nuts. One day it's 65, 60, 70, 80, 70 degrees, whatever. Next day it's 40. And I've never had to deal with that. So my allergies get out of whack. But so anyway, authenticity is magnificent. Like, I can't believe that nobody's listening to me and going and buying authenticity. I've actually tried to, hey Max, hey, Happy Land is by EJ Wells. EJ Wells, it's a indie perfumer. He does his own stuff. They are extrait de parfum, and they are absolutely wonderful. Man, I recommend them highly. Like I said before, when I don't know if you heard, but I've only reviewed, I think, maybe 5 of the 13 that he has, and I have been more than pleased with those 5. I think they are. I did a review and I had EJ Wells and Happy Land Studio as one of the most underrated perfume companies there is, simply because outside of fragrance reviewers, they don't really get a whole lot of love. EJ Wells has done a phenomenal job of trying to get his fragrances out there for reviewers to review. Some of them guys, he's real good friends with Ross Carlers from TLTG. Man Shit was created for Ross, which, that's fine, man. It's your fragrance company. Do what you want to do. And of course, Ross has 4,000 some subscribers, so he kind of catches the ears. People like me, 504 Man, Bro Sense, Trey Sense, people like that don't have quite that many, but he absolutely makes sure everybody gets to review his fragrances. He has them, a lot of reviewers reviewing them. Just, I'm not in the fragrance community a ton. So, and I know Max, you are. So if you haven't heard of it, then that really just verifies the fact that it doesn't get out there as much as it should. I highly recommend that house. I've even had my issues with EJ Wells. Those are well documented. I'm a forgiving man, period, man. If we can move past things and move on, I've done it with Cali Gent. I still have issues with the guy. But those issues aren't anything that needs to be reviewed anymore. that we don't need to revisit things. He personally apologized. I don't feel like it was a heartfelt apology, but an apology is an apology. If a man can apologize, who am I not to accept an apology? So we moved on from that. Happy Land Studios, please, guys, please give authenticity a try. It's its own brand. It is not a clone of anything. He put this all together by himself. His name is Sonny. They are on Facebook. It's a cheapie, guys, that lasts your normal typical 8-9 hours. You're only paying like 30. I think he has them now $35.99 for 100 ml. How the heck can you go wrong? Just buy it. Try it out. I told you. I mean, he'll send you a sample out. $4 shipping is all you pay. Try it. If you don't like it, what are you out? $4 freaking? We spend a lot more than that on a lot of other stuff that we buy. So what are you missing out on? I have another house by the name of Babylon Fragrances that I purchased some. I did not get them for free. I got a 20% off coupon for reviewers. I bought some decants from them, which you guys should have caught in my video yesterday. I cannot wait to give these guys a try. I like clone houses, not for the simple fact of I think most of them come close enough to save my big bottles. That's what I really like clone houses for. I don't want my big bottles to suffer if I can turn around and buy juices from a clone house that even comes even 80% close, 85% close. You're saving my big bottles, and that means a lot to me. If I go and want to go out and do some shopping for 2 hours, I love By Killian's Black Phantom. That is an expensive $350 fragrance that I'm not just going to, it's too much to spray that on just for a couple hours of being out on the town. So me personally, I like the clone houses because I can go, aha, here's Dark Night. I'll just put this on instead. I'm wasting a couple of bucks instead of 10 or 15, and out the door I go. Most people aren't going to know the difference anyway. I am not an advocate to say that I love clone houses. I think we all should purchase clones. No, I do think that if you're trying to save it, especially people like Max, I think he said he had 800 bottles. Why not have a clone house or a clone for just about every one you got? Save that freaking bottle. In the long run, it saves us money, period. And I'm all about saving money. I work hard for my money, and I don't want to throw money away just for the sake of purchasing something because these big time reviewers say, hey, this smells absolutely wonderful. No, it don't. So anyway, guys, I appreciate I woke up this morning and went from 161 subs to 171. Tells me I'm doing something right, so I greatly appreciate all my subs. I really do. For you guys that are constantly in my comment section on every single video, you really don't know how much that means to me. It means you guys are watching. Some of you guys have a comment and a long description of everything, and that means even more because that means you're watching it in depth and taking what I say to heart. And that's why I'm here, is because you guys make me relevant. If it's not for my subs, nobody hears me. So I greatly appreciate it. But I hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from with the 10 bad reviewers and the 10 good reviewers. Some of them bad reviewers, you're going to say, Dwayne, you have a vendetta with. Sure. But as you can see, I didn't say I have a vendetta with these guys. Don't watch them. There's reasons why I tell you to watch them. And some of these guys on here that I tell you to watch are friends of mine. Some are not. Why would I tell you? It seemed kind of biased to watch them. Well, I'm friends with them for a reason. They're great people and they do great reviews, period. So why not watch people that are going to give you, they may be boring. They may not have the graphics in the background. They may not be flashy. They may not be and showing their boobs and all that good happy stuff, but at least they're bringing you good, real content. And I think that's what we're missing in the reviewing part. These YouTube reviewers is what we're missing, period. People who love what they do, passionate about what they do, and are only going to give their subs what their subs need. Think about raising kids. Do you give your kids what they want, or do you give your kids what they need? Because there's a consequence to pay when you give your kids what they want and not what they need. I mean, simple. Uh, I'm going to give you guys what I think you need, not what I think you want. Do some of you guys give me suggestions, and I honor those suggestions? Absolutely. That is giving you what you want, but at the same time, I'm giving you what you need because I'm telling you what I think about that fragrance that you think highly of or think I should just review anyway. Um, I'm not uppity up. I'm not high class. I'm not going to ignore people. If my worst enemy sends me a fragrance and tells me, you know, would you mind reviewing this? I would absolutely love to hear you. I'd be skeptical of the juice unless it's a sealed bottle, because they obviously don't like me, but I would review it. I have 2 fragrances coming that I find very controversial, and I really do not care if people do not like the person who makes those colognes. I'm doing this for an entertainment value, to be real honest with you. I am a huge Trump supporter. I'm never going to deny that. I did not like Trump to begin with, but I've grown after I voted for him to appreciate him. And this is going to be actually, if it sucks, I'm going to tell you all it sucks. I care less if I like the president or not. If it's good, I'm going to tell you it's good. I really don't care if it's the president or not. So I have some Trump colognes coming. I have 2 of the 3. I will actually get the colognes. I'm getting one of them today. The other ones will probably be on Monday, and I'll happily review them. I'm just doing it because somebody had made a comment one time that they tried to get Ross Carlos from TLTG to, hey brother, appreciate you sliding by, to review a Trump cologne, and he refused it simply because he didn't think it had any value. Well, pardon us for what we consider value and what you don't consider value. I find any and every fragrance of value. I don't like Kevin Holt at all. That's widely publicized, but his colognes have value. Period. He made them. He created them. Whatever I think of them or whatever I don't think of them is irrelevant. Every cologne, every fragrance has value. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, it's still value. There's people who like it, that's valued. There's people who don't like it, that's also valued. So I'm not going to shy away from, if Barack Obama, who I can't stand as, I could not stand as a president, came out with a freaking fragrance, I would happily review it too. I'm a fragrance lover. I will happily review a fragrance and tell you guys what I think of that fragrance. I don't care who makes it. I don't like Jay-Z. I would have not had the ambition to try any JC fragrances, even though I tried one long before I reviewed, and I did not care for it. I didn't think it was the best. It's still valued. It's still somebody that made something, and I still think it ought to be given such value. So whatever the value is it's worth something. So don't know what else to talk about, guys. I just seen the ultimate idiot get on and make a 10 reviewer list you should watch. Problem is, Ashton, they're not small time reviewers. To you, they may be. You have 80,000 followers. 1,000 to you might be small time, but 1,000 plus reviewers are not small time reviewers. They're actually at the threshold that these cologne companies have set them at, which makes perfect sense why you would shout them out. They are at the 1,000 or more, which is the threshold of, oh, now this 80,000 subscriber reviewer sees these other guys. Oh yeah, now they have 1,000. We normally don't pay attention to anybody under 1,000, but now that they're at 1,000 and Ashton decides to shout them out, maybe they'll be on their way. And of course, maybe some of these reviewers will turn out like Dallas, scamming everybody out of money, that you still haven't decided to come on and say, what a shame. You have no problem getting on and bashing people or bashing fragrances, as you say, which I haven't seen you really bash a fragrance, but you have no problem doing that, but you will not discredit somebody that you gave that to. And Outlaw Frags is somebody you're going to come back and regret that you ever shouted them out. One guy is good, the other guy is a total freaking idiot. So, anyway, guys, appreciate you sliding by. Thank you for giving me 40 minutes of your time. I wanted to do this video, but as you can see, I'm not going to do a 40-minute video. I'd rather do it live. So, appreciate you guys sliding by. DB just took you behind a whole lot of nonsense. Y'all have a great morning. Appreciate it. And until next time, vaya con Dios.